RotoGrinders Daily Fantasy Football Podcasts are presented to you by Yahoo Sports Daily Fantasy. It's the playoffs, and Yahoo is back with another baller contest this week. It's a $500,000 total prize pool, and it is a $20 buy-in. It is a 10-entry max with zero management fees, rake-free contest for you this weekend. Don't miss out. If you haven't signed up already, go to rotogrinders.com/Yahoo. And when you make your deposit, make sure you're using promo code Grinders30 for a $30 matching bonus on that first deposit. Great sponsors here of the football feed. It's Yahoo Sports Daily Fantasy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final RotoGrinders NFL Daily Fantasy Recap show of the 2018 NFL regular season. My name is Davis Mattek. I'm joined by Sammy Reid, sadly not joined by the third fish of the Gillcast, Nate Nolan. He's been, traveling around the country all week. Who could say what Nate is doing? But he didn't play this week, so Sammy and I held down the fort. Week 17, and we came startlingly close to playing the same lineup, Sammy.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm pretty sad that Nate's not here because, I don't know. I mean, we get to record early because Nate doesn't have to mess around with his database and keep us waiting while he downloads air yards.
I'm gonna be in bed at a reasonable hour.
Yeah, so that's a positive. But we did actually go into today's slate with the same lineup, which, I mean, I don't know how you felt, but that made me feel real nervous, bro.
Has not happened in 17 weeks of the NFL season where I don't think any of us have ran the same lineup at any point this year, the three of us.
No, we have not. And frankly, like, I'm surprised that me and you came so close because when we were talking about it earlier in the week, we were pretty far off. I think you were convinced that Jamal Williams was a stone cold lock.
I was definitely convinced he was a stone cold lock. And then, so this is, we can just start talking about our lineup. But the reason that I got off Williams wasn't really anything to do with what I thought about his projection or talent or whatever. But when they said that Adams wasn't going to play when he was so close to getting those records, I was like, oh, they're just not going to try. They are not coming out to really try and win this game against the Lions today. That was how I interpreted that news. Was that a fish read, or do you think that read was probably like kind of close to being true?
I mean, I don't know about trying or not, but I think it's definitely they only have one good player on their offense besides Rodgers, and that's Devontae Adams. And
right, and
then he's throwing to Aquinimity.
Yeah, even if they were trying, their offense is markedly worse with MVS getting those targets than Adams.
Oh, yeah, and Aquinimity St. Brown, I don't even know if he was active. I mean, it was just like that whole offense is a complete dumpster fire. And it's just like I don't want any piece, especially when Detroit's got Snacks Harrison, who's like legitimate at stopping the run. And they, more importantly, just played a really crappy, slow pace. I was like, dude, this is a 13-7 game. I don't want any shares at all, anywhere. No how, no way.
That was how I ended up getting off of Jamal Williams, who I did really like. I don't want to claim like I'm some savant. Like, I thought he was a really good play. I thought he was going to have – I guess maybe I didn't think he was a really good play, but what I did think was this dude is going to get all of the running back work for Green Bay, which actually was true. He had 3 targets and 8 carries. Capri Bibbs had 5 targets and 1 carry, but they ran like no plays. They had 40 attempted passes and 13 runs in this game.
I mean, here's the big thing is we avoided that landmine. I think this week it was more about avoiding landmines than like unexpected people really smashing. Like, I guess Jarwin smashed, but that wasn't like anything to do with week 17. It was like I was waiting for Jake Kumaro to like score 2 touchdowns or something, and none of that really happened. Meanwhile, like there were a lot of traps out there.
Well, I mean, I got hit with an absolutely brutal one, which so now we should talk about it. Okay, let's just go into our lineups. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes did not consider another quarterback for a nanosecond this week.
Should we have?
Who? I guess even who would you have? I guess Ben, maybe Ben or Watson. I guess would have been the other guy.
Yeah, Not Ben, because Ben was like the same price on DK. You're taking Mahomes there for sure.
How much? I don't even know how much. I didn't even look, dude.
I think Mahomes was 71 and Ben was 7, and Mahomes was 61% owned in cash. Everybody went Mahomes.
As they should have. He was so clearly the play.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy is it that a quarterback in the year of our Lord 2018 is 60+% owned in cash at 7.1?
A lot for whatever reason, a lot of these teams had motivation, but it was like partial motivation. Like some of these teams, they're like, oh, you know, if X, Y, and Z happens in another game, then they'll stop caring. So I think people were just like, oh, it's just so easy to know Mahomes is going to have to try the whole game. And he was close enough to some records that we probably assumed that he was going to be throwing the whole game. And honestly, if the Raiders had showed any push in that game at all, I think Reid would have left him out there.
I mean, they scored 35 points, and I feel like they didn't do anything. It was like they returned they returned a pick for a touchdown, and they got like a couple yard touchdown from Damian Williams, and then a long touchdown. I don't even know what else happened.
So they scored 35 points, completing 16 passes.
Yeah, they like never had the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Henne got in on this game.
Yeah, and then they didn't play any of the fourth quarter, which is probably something we should have thought a little bit more about.
I mean, no, I kind of think the Raiders, like, if the pick six wouldn't have happened, I actually think they probably would have scored some points and it would have been fine.
Yeah, the pick six really just screws everything up, and it was like right at the beginning too.
It's like deflating, and you're on the road. You're on the road, you throw a pick six, like that's just GG's.
Ugh. Dude, I was expecting a lot better out of this game, honestly. I thought that, yeah, I mean, they scored 35 points, but there is no fantasy points.
So basically it was Mahomes. It was fine. It's Mahomes. What are you going to do?
Nothing. The only other guys who smashed were like Jameis and Ryan. They both smashed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That game was suspect.
Brady had 250 and 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and Goff had like 204.
Oh, Josh Allen had 40 ball.
Oh yeah. I want to say
Silva like wanted to play him in cash. Too good.
So I actually want to say like thanks to Evan Silva because I absolutely murked on Yahoo today because I had a lot of Josh Allen and GPP because I saw Silva pump him on the Swolecast and then you guys go no and I was like oh
I did not. I like Josh Allen.
Okay, well, was it Soccer Dave?
Yeah.
Like, I see Soccer Dave versus Evan Silva, and I'm like, oh, I'm putting money on Silva right now. And I did, and I won a bunch.
Yeah, so. I mean, that is, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I guess he's probably like more of like a FanDuel play because he's never getting that 300-yard bonus.
He almost got the 100-yard bonus, mate.
Yeah, I guess, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's ever any way to play Lamar Jackson over Mahomes, but I guess probably some people did that and felt good about it.
No, forget all that. Forget all that noise.
Yeah. So running back, I played C.J. Anderson, Dwayne Washington, and Jeff Wilson Jr. And this is where you and I differed because you made a swap based on the Spencer Ware being inactive news. You swapped from Travis Kelce and Jeff Wilson Jr. to Jared Cook and Damian Williams. Is that correct?
It is. And I mean, honestly,
so I actually think that you probably won that swap, but only by like 3-4 points.
I mean, it's true. Like they were not that great, but I want to talk to you a little bit about that process.
Because yes, I think both ways. I think both of the ways you and I approached it was interesting.
Yeah. So we kind of have to give the full picture because we're making this decision around 2 p.m. or like 2 p.m. your time, noon our time, like an hour before the afternoon games happen. When we find out that Spencer Ware is not playing, and then we have to look at our scores and say, okay, are we above or behind? So what was kind of your thinking at that point?
Well, we had the stone nuts. So at the time that Spencer Ware was inactive, we had Dwayne Washington, who was not quite at the 100-yard bonus yet, but I think he had like 70 or so yards. But we also didn't have Jamal Williams. We didn't have Marquez Valdez-Scantling. we didn't have.
People play Valdez-Scantling?
He was chalk. He was like 25%.
What the for real?
Yeah, he was in a pretty popular build, and even Saquon only had, I think, like 26, 27, which is like, it's a good score, but he's not like Saquon at 27 points was not breaking the slate. Like
I was so pissed at you this morning, bro, because you're like, we dated Saquon, we're so sharp, we're gonna be rich, and I'm like, dude, he's gonna smash us in the face now, and then he did, kind of like he hit the bonus and scored. Like
he hit the bonus and scored, but like whatever, like 20, like if the guy you're really stone fading gets 27, you don't hate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a regular CJ Anderson day. It's not like
right.
So great.
So we faded those landmines. We had 32 from Godwin, 29 from Hopkins, and 2 from the Giants defense, which actually, by the way, I mean, compared to what every other defense did for the day, the Giants defense a real wet fart on the day, because if we had the Chiefs D or whatever, which like the so
Rams
by the way,
D, Chargers D, any D from the afternoon set.
The Barkley, Marquez Valdez-Scantling upgraded defense team versus Hopkins,
Washington.
Washington or whatever, like whatever cheap running back. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. Like that 3v3, that just because the defenses were so good, those teams smashed.
Yeah, I hate those weeks because I always pay down at defense. I never pay up for defense because
it's not like the Chiefs were expensive; they were just a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, they were like what 2.5 or 2.6. Yeah, which I mean was a good. I just needed the money, but
and the Bills defense had like 18 also.
Yeah, and the Chargers and the Rams.
So the thought process for me, especially after Washington got the bonus, I was like, I don't even know if I could make a swap that would be neutral EV right now, and I'm gonna go to a bar and watch the Chiefs game. I just want to watch Mahomes throw touchdown passes to Kelsey. So like I was just like, I'm leaving it. The 2v2 I was considering actually would have won a lot because mine was Kittle and Damian Williams versus what I did run, which was C.J. Anderson and Travis Kelce. And so Kittle got like 35. So that 2 won by a little bit, even though C.J. Anderson smashed.
Yeah.
You I think made a bad swap, but I think our team was in such a good spot that it didn't matter.
That honestly, that was almost my thinking when I did it. I'm like, screw it, dude. I got the nuts. I'm winning anyways, you know? But I really didn't want to get off of C.J. Anderson. I knew C.J. Anderson was going to smash. He was less than 40% owned in cash. I was like, you've got to be joking me. Like, you have to be joking me. What are these people thinking?
I will say this. C.J. Anderson did have a really good game. You overprojected the shit out of him.
No, bro. I mean, it's a home game against the 49ers where they're like 2 touchdown favorites. and he gets almost all the carries and targets. It's like, dude, I know Kelly got 10 carries last year, but 6 of them were like in garbage time.
No, I'm not even accounting for that. I'm just saying, like, I've seen this scenario play out with running backs who like aren't very good. And instead of getting 23 carries, they get 18 carries for 84 yards, and just it works out that they don't get the touchdown, whether it be Jared Goff gets the sneak or the fullback. Like, just so you know, it's football. Like, things like this happen over a small sample, and it's not like Gurley's in there where the team is like they want to get Gurley the touchdowns. Obviously, I played C.J. Anderson. I thought he was a really good play. I was very invested in that idea, but I just need you to know that I think you were overconfident in your projection for him.
Okay, and I need you to know that you're a fish. Like, there was just no way that CJ wasn't smashing in this spot. I don't know what the argument against him. They can get 18 carries, you know. Anybody could.
Yeah. So it is worth pointing out that I played Jeff Wilson with 0.9 DK points and still had my third best day of the year. That wasn't your fault at all. Like, he's the guy I swapped off of because I thought he had a low floor. We'll never really know, you know, like. Well, you know, man, I really ever hate to say the draft cheat makes a good point, but he does make a good point about Jeff Wilson Jr. is so spectacularly unathletic. Like, his metrics, if you go to Player Profiler, are so bad. Like, maybe you shouldn't be surprised when some couch potato gets hurt playing in an NFL game. And I don't really like to give DC credit, but it's a really good point. You know? Again, it is what it is. Like Jeff Wilson Jr.
It's like Soccer Dave playing in an NFL game.
Like literally, it's like you're like, okay, Soccer Dave, you're gonna go out and you're gonna play 60 snaps. If Jeff Wilson Jr. and Alfred Morris's score counted for one today, would have been a real good day for your boy.
Oh my God, yes, Morris smashed, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 16 carries, 111 yards, and he scored and also caught his lone target.
Oh my God, yeah, that could have all been Jeff Wilson Jr.'s if he worked out ever.
If he'd ever bench pressed.
Yeah, hit the gym kid.
So you swapped off of Kelsey as well as part of your swap to Jared Cook.
I just felt so good about Damian Williams. You know, I felt basically about him as I did C.J. Anderson. I know he's probably going to get a little less work, but like he gets more work in the receiving game. I was just like, dude, he's going to smash. Like Kareem Hunt. If Kareem Hunt were $6,000, and I really don't differentiate between these players at all, honestly.
No, that's a very good point. Just treating a running back like a running back is probably a good idea.
Yeah, like that's C.J. Anderson. C.J. was like 5.4. I'm like, if Gurley was ever 5.4 or 6.4, even 7.4, you'd never even think twice. You'd never even think twice. So,
that's true.
Yeah. So I mean, running backs don't matter. How could I possibly fade that? So for me, I loved Kelsey, but I was just like, I would rather take the hit at tight end and play the variance there than play it at running back. You know, I just think running back in DFS is the more important position. It's the more projectable position. I feel the best about it. Like I want the smash guy there. So, and Damian didn't even smash. So, but that was my thinking.
He really should have though.
He should have. I don't even know what happened. Like he got a touchdown at least, but he got no work through the air and he only got like, I don't know, 11 carries.
He got stoned at the goal line one time.
Oh, yeah, the Kelsey stone and then the Damian Williams stone back-to-back.
Yeah, the Kelsey stone, that turns into a touchdown that's plus 12 for me, or plus 11. That would have been, again, just a lot of ways I could have made a lot more money today.
Yeah. No, D. Williams, and he also didn't play the fourth quarter. When you have a big lead, like that's when you expect your running back to get like 6 or 7 carries in that quarter.
I mean, they got to protect their investment. They just extended his contract, bro.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wide receiver, Godwin, Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, there was just no way to not play Juju at the point in which AB was out.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's smart? I'm looking back on it.
Yes, it's like literally you cannot even possibly think twice about it.
Okay, here's my devil's advocate, and I don't necessarily believe this, but I just want to throw it out there. The Pittsburgh offense, every time AB is out, the whole thing falls apart. When Le'Veon Bell goes out, everything's fine. Everything's the same. An offensive lineman goes out, everything's the same. Slot receiver, anything. AB is the one guy on that team where I feel like when he's out, things change and the offense is like markedly worse.
I mean, maybe that's a sign that they have the wrong people calling plays.
oh, they do, buddy.
But yeah, they do. Smith-Schuster is like just as like he's like more athletic and like more efficient than Antonio Brown is. So I don't really buy that. And I think any sort of like negating efficiency you would get with Antonio Brown being out, you would project to make up for in target volume for Smith-Schuster, which like he saw 10 of 45 targets, which I guess really you would probably expect a little bit more. Like I did not project 8 targets for Jalen Samuels, still
9 for Eli Rogers. I mean, the reality is that Pittsburgh's just straight bad. I mean, being a fan of this team is actually like not a good experience this year.
You could have just rooted for the Chiefs, bro. I saw that first Mahomes game and I was like, did the Dallas who? the Dallas what? I don't even know what that is. Why are you talking to me about Dallas? I don't know.
You jump ship like the rats on the Titanic. You were just like, peace out.
Yeah, like I saw Mahomes throw one no look pass and it was like why would I ever bother with this? Like,
it's my ass, Dak. I'm out.
Yeah. It's like I don't have to watch Dak and Zeke Elliott and I don't have to watch Jason Garrett clap, bro. I can watch Patrick Mahomes.
Well, that was a good choice. The Steelers were 7-2-1, didn't make the playoffs.
They lost to didn't they lose to the Raiders at home?
They lost to the Raiders in Oakland, but they still lost to the Raiders because they decided not to bring Ben back on the field. They're like, "Oh, we're cool with the flow of the game. It's all good." Like, now you're not in the playoffs, you clowns. So Juju got 10 targets. He got a touchdown. That was fine. Godwin, I don't know. I think something like in your process is totally screwed up if you didn't play Godwin. Here's the question: would Nate Noling have played Godwin if he played today?
So here is a couple things based on this is something you and I were chatting about over the course of the day. Is would Nate have won in this slate? So here's the thing, dude. I think Nate would have played one of these Detroit wide receivers.
Oh yeah.
I'm like looking at this slate and I'm like, oh, there's so much missing volume. Like Nate might have got the 100-yard Brandon Powell game.
No, he would have played.
And
TJ Jones scored twice.
Yeah, he might have gotten TJ Jones. I mean, Andy Jones had 11 DK points. Powell had 18. Jones had like 16, I think.
My God. He 100% would have played one of these guys because he would have been like,
they're missing.
I mean, I just can't fade a 25% target share. Like, I just won't.
I can't do it for the minimum salary. and then he probably would have played. He probably would have played Barkley. He definitely would have played CJ Anderson. Yeah. Oh man, you know what? And he probably would have played Kittle over Kelsey too.
Yeah, and he probably would have played Lamar.
No, he would have played Mahomes.
No, he would have played Lamar.
He has played Lamar like every week.
He's played Lamar Jackson every week since week 12. Every week.
Nate is such a fish.
Bro, he ran bad to only get one touchdown today. Bro, he had the bonus. He had the 100-yard bonus with no down.
Oh
yeah, Nate would have absolutely destroyed the slate. He'd be so rich.
The crazy thing, too, is just like, whenever Nate and I have someone overlap, it's got to just be a complete accident.
Yeah, just two broken clocks.
Well, just the way he builds his lineups is so much different. Like, he just is like, remember that week he didn't play Sterling Shepard?
Yeah.
When he was like 80%?
Yeah, and then he did play him the next week when, like, he was terrible.
When he was like 2%.
Yeah, and Nate's always like, man, I always do this. I always do something stupid. Like, a receiver leaves, and then I just project, like, another guy to just pick up all his volume. And I'm like, 28% target share. And he, like, knows he does it, but he continues to do it.
Remember that time I played Theo Riddick for 4K and still won?
Yeah, you smashed, actually. That week you absolutely crushed.
Really good NFL year for me.
Yeah. It's been a good year overall, man. Like, it really has. I just, like, downloaded, like, all my stats. I didn't have a good year in GPP. I lost money.
Oh, I know. I can confirm I will have been a loser in GPP probably.
Yeah. But this is actually really interesting. So I only won 56% of my head-to-heads, which is like just about break even, like a 2.5% ROI. 77% 50-50, 73% double ups. Game selection, mate.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And I know, dude, you've been smashing all year. Like like Silva said, your maturation from beta to alpha has been really impressive. But like I knew at the beginning of the year you were gonna have a good year. Yeah, but you had a different mindset.
Well, I just like worked really hard in the off season.
Like, how do you mean?
Like I just like really like I kind of like memorized all the team's rosters. I got familiar with all I like got familiar with all the rookies. I like watched film.
You grinded film and memorized rosters, and then you won a bunch of money. Is that the secret?
I like it's like helpful to like be like, what does Matt Stafford really look like? because that'll keep you from playing Theo Riddick at 4K if you really remember what it's like to watch him play quarterback. You know?
Yeah. No, I could tell at the beginning of the year, like you were just a little more put together. You weren't like a goofball tout. You were doing sharp things and saying sharp things. You've had a good year.
So the important part is how many points did you score?
157 and change.
Damn it, you beat me. 150.
Of course.
Well, I guess your guys all played. Your guys all finished the game.
Yeah. I didn't play Jeff Wilson Jr., the couch potato.
Crazy that he got hurt. It's just I don't think I've really had an injury all year.
I mean, remember when Nate had his quarterback bench like 3 weeks in a row?
No. I got even a better one. Remember when Nate had Martavis Bryant who played 8 snaps?
He's like, bro, Amari Cooper was gone. He was going to get like 28% of the targets.
Oh.
But we pivoted to somebody else. We pivoted to Maurice Harris. Was that the Maurice Harris week?
Oh yeah, I did play Maurice Harris.
Yeah, me and you. I mean, in fairness, me and you both had Martavis, and we pivoted. Like not in week, but like on Sunday morning, we did that.
What can you do?
Yeah, you just do sharp things. You know?
That is the worst play I made all year. I think.
Mo Harris.
Yeah.
I actually might have played him twice in cash.
I might have gone back to the well. Whatever week I was in Arizona, I don't remember what I did, but it was horrible.
Yeah, the week I went to Arizona, I think I scored like 77 points in cash. I was looking at my results today and like going through stuff, and I was like, "What the hell happened then?" Oh, that was Arizona. That's right. Yeah.
It's not like I have some excuse. Like it's not like I didn't do research that week. It's not like I didn't turn all my articles in and do all the podcasts. Like I still fished it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, like I was drunk the whole time and I was like not around during lock, and I wasn't tinkering in the morning. I was doing stuff like all part of my routine was off. My routine was different.
What's something you learned overall about NFL DFS from this year?
I mean, that's so I don't mean to make light of it, but I think it's really been the thing that defense doesn't matter. And I've really learned, and it's not the defense doesn't matter in the absolute sense. It's just that today, let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins. We played DeAndre Hopkins in cash, and not a lot of people did. He was 7.2%.
He was 5%.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like volume, and he went 12 for 147. Volume trumps all. Like, volume just trumps all. And defensive matchup is good and all this, but, like, game script, which creates opportunity in a lot of ways, that's what just trumps all. Big takeaway for me. And, like, don't pay up for QB in cash still.
Someone asked me this morning who Hopkins played, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, Hopkins. Oh, it was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was like, aren't you concerned? Because you kind of talked me onto him. I was kind of like, I don't know, because I had Devontae. I was going to play Devontae Adams.
He got scratched,
and that's why we ended up having the same lineup. We were really close, but I had Adams, you had Hopkins, and then I was like, shoot, that's just a natural price pivot. Aren't you concerned about Jacksonville? Or aren't you concerned about the matchup? You're like, what matchup was he playing?
I don't look. Like I look, I guess, like at like team totals and stuff and like projections, but I'm not like, oh, who does this team play? Who for the RG expert survey, they have this question we do every week, which is it's like what player are you targeting against an elite defense this week? And I'm always just like, I don't know.
Whichever one's going to get a lot of volume.
What are the elite? I guess the Ravens have an elite defense for sure. And then who are the other good defenses? Like suppose Chicago?
Chicago. Yeah. Chicago's is really good. Baltimore, nobody else is even good.
So let's look at Football Outsiders DVOA. The top 3 teams in DVOA are
Chargers will be up there.
They're not. They're 8th.
Okay.
Chicago, Baltimore, Buffalo, Minnesota, and New Orleans.
Oh yeah, New Orleans actually had a great
But
defensive year.
are any of those teams, would you like not play guys against in fantasy?
Maybe Chicago.
Like I know for a fact I've played dudes against Buffalo in fantasy.
Yeah, I think I tested the Ravens once and they like pushed my shit in. So
I played Mahomes against the Ravens. He got like 28.
yeah, well, I played somebody else who wasn't good and they shut him down. But I mean, regardless, like, yeah, I think that's definitely a thing. And then the other thing I've really learned, and we've talked about this lately, is that when there's backups in, so you get a cheap guy who's going to step into a volume role, you can always trust the running backs way more than you can trust the receivers, except for Chris Godwin. But so many times you like, oh, the number one receiver's out. This guy, Sutton's going to get so many more looks. And it just like doesn't always happen. In fact, a lot of the time it doesn't happen. So, but when CJ Anderson comes in for Gurley, he's going to smash because he's legit going to get like 20 touches. So,
well, running back success is so much more translatable because it's about, it's about team success. Running backs do well through coaching, through play calling, through offensive line talent, through
game script. Yeah,
game script. Whereas when wide receivers do well, generally, it's basically comes down to them being good at.
Yeah, they did good, and their quarterback is.
And their quarterback is good. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that, and you're also talking about like 6 to 8 targets as opposed to like 15 to 20 touches.
Right. It's running backs are just more projectable than wide receivers. That just is like, if you looked at an R squared of projections for running backs and for wide receivers, like median projections, the running backs would do better.
Absolutely. It's just like, I just want RB Rams. I just want RB, Chiefs, whoever it is. I just want the RB from that team. I don't care who it is. RBs don't matter.
And there's also probably more value in like the high priced good volume wide receivers now more than ever because the league is trending a couple different ways. One, towards a lot more passing, but two, through like having a lot of different weapons. Like the good offenses have 7 guys who catch passes. They have 2 running backs who catch passes, 4 wide receivers who catch passes, and tight ends who catch passes. So the guys who have like a legit like 28% market share, I mean, there's probably like 4 guys.
Yeah.
Who have
and
that.
What'd you learn?
The story of this season for me is definitely going to be the defense does not matter, and that spending a lot of time looking at like DVOA and what team allows fantasy points to tight ends and stuff like that. That's a total waste of time.
Serious waste. I don't think I've looked at DVOA in.
This is the first time I pulled it up, and in the years past, it's been a big part of my research and analysis, and so shout out Frisco Josh.
Yeah. I mean, I had a really good conversation with Josh. I think it was before last season over DMs. And he had found, he'd done the study and said that DVOA was descriptive but not predictive. And he really did a lot of work. And so I talked to him about that. And the moment like I had this conversation, I really understood. And I just took it completely out of my analysis. I never looked at it again. Even though as a football fan, it is interesting to know who like the top teams were this year. That's a good thing to know about the season that happened, but it's not going to help you this week in DFS.
The thing that is the most enjoyable to me about DVOA now is that the Seattle fans who care so much about winning the DVOA championship, they cheer for a bad team now, so they can't even sweat that out, which is something they used to love.
I mean, Seattle did win 10 games. I don't know what their team DVOA was, but I'll bet it was top 10.
Wasn't.
Really?
Well, maybe their offense is so good, but their defensive DVOA is 19th.
Huh.
Their offensive DVOA is probably good because Russell Wilson is like so insanely efficient.
Super efficient, yeah.
No, they won't be top 10. They're 8th in offense, 20th in defense, and their special teams is not very. No, their special teams is amazing because they have that punter.
Oh, you know, punter. You really did do a lot of work, Davis. Memorizing rosters.
You don't know about this punter?
No.
Dude, you have to know about this punter.
No, who he is.
He makes like 70-yard like corner punts, dude.
Really?
You got like after the show, go Google Seattle punter. Like he won the MVP of his college bowl game.
No shit. Okay.
I had Danny Kelly and Ben Baldwin, two huge Seahawks fans on the Takecast, and I didn't know about this either. And they were like, "No, the punter is like the star of the team."
Lit. So go to their special teams DVOA. See where it's at.
It's not good actually.
No, punting's a small piece of that.
Yeah. I was all ready for them to be like first in DVOA though, because their punter is so good.
What do you think it means? We saw Kelsey and Kittle. I think they both cracked the all-time record, and Kittle ended up with it of tight end receiving yards.
Yeah.
And Ertz obviously had a huge monster year. Like, I don't know. I think it was like 100+ catches, 1,200+ yards, something like that.
Insane.
What does that change your opinion of the tight end position? Like, I almost always pay down at tight end in cash, and I really had to. Receivers. Yeah, I really had to start rethinking that at the second half of this year, and I don't think I adjusted that well. But
in general, I think as long as your opponents are not making an emphasis on that position, I think it's okay, because there always is a big trade-off, because the cheap tight end, like the 3.4K tight ends, are way better than the 3.4K wide receivers. Like, that's just true. So there is like a pretty big trade-off.
Travis Kelsey just absolutely went nut bar. How do you think Mahomes does next year? Like, statistically.
I mean, I don't know. It's probably not as good, right? He'll probably throw some more interceptions, probably less passing touchdowns.
I mean, just mathematically, there should be regression there, but he's just so damn good. He's just so good.
He had the most fantasy points of any quarterback season ever.
Did he?
Yeah. Field Yates tweeted that out today.
Would Nate right now be arguing that he shouldn't be the MVP? That Brees should be the VP?
Yeah,
no?
Nate would be like, he's completing 74% of his passes.
Just so efficient.
I mean, how many, but here's the thing, though. Like, I got in an argument, not an argument. Like, I'm friends with, like Ben Baldwin and Kevin Cole, who works here for RG. Just like Brees for a large part of the season was better EPA per dropback, which is expected points added per dropback. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't. How could you possibly care that Brees was slightly more efficient per dropback when Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes?
This is actually a good take. Keep going.
Yeah, it's just like you watch that dude play for 5 minutes and you're like, he's gonna be the best. As long as he doesn't get hurt, no one else is ever going to be better at doing this than he is. And completion percentage in the NFL now is probably slightly overrated, because we know that success rate on a per-play basis is not what matters. There's been a ton of research done saying basically like success rate per play is not what you should be chasing after. You should be chasing after points, and total points is like what you should really be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'd be arguing with Nate about how it's more of an art, it's more of an art than a science. Like, you can't just sit there and like,
Nate, let's text him right now.
Please. Let me know.
I just want to know who the MVP would be.
I mean, he has to say Mahomes.
I just feel like what if he said like Phillip Rivers?
I can see it.
Like, what if there's like some obscure metric that Nate really likes that Rivers is the best in?
I could see it. Who else could possibly be the MVP?
Well, people tried to say
Matt
Aaron
Ryan?
Donald. People tried to say Todd Gurley, of course.
No, Nate would never say Gurley. Those people are just stone wrong. Did you feel vindicated about your Darnold to Saquon take in the last couple weeks of the year?
I mean, I felt vindicated from the beginning. Except here's the thing. I think people think that I am like a Sam Darnold guy. I'm just like a take anyone. Take Colton Miller, take Denzel Ward, take Leighton Vander Esch. Like, I don't care.
Derwin James.
Yeah, Derwin James is actually the guy that I think if you applied the logic retroactively would be the right pick, because I think people actually would not have been surprised if he had been taken there.
I mean, he went at like 17, bro. I'm still appalled.
Wasn't
Still
he
appalled.
like pretty well regarded though?
He was super well regarded, and he smashed at the combine. It wasn't like something hit him that, oh, we're not sure about Derwin James. Everybody knew he was amazing. It was like Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, I think, lasted to number 12 his year, and everybody knew he was going to be the best defensive player. Like, he was just an animal. He didn't just like randomly turn into this guy. He was always going to smash, but he like went outside the top 10, and nobody knows why.
Strong safety.
Because people don't value the position.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of that where like strong safeties certainly don't have the highest value.
Right. And neither do like defensive tackles, especially going into that time. But you take special players.
You know a thing that sucks?
Except for running back.
Byron Jones is probably my favorite Cowboy ever. And he's having this amazing, amazing year. And I just don't even really care about the Cowboys anymore.
It's really sad, but don't worry, cornerbacks don't last that long anyway.
He's so good though.
He'll be bad in 2 years.
Oh no, but here's the thing: some of them. This is a thing that people don't know this, but this is a thing some corners are doing now. Is they're getting old, and just like receivers, they're moving from the outside to the inside in their old age.
Yeah, they go to safety.
No, they become slot corners.
Oh.
Brandon Carr of like horrible, was so bad in Dallas notoriety is like a linchpin of this amazing Ravens defense as their slot corner.
Original Rod Woodson or Charles Woodson.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like just very tilted though that Byron Jones is having this year after being really converted from safety and is just so good and just doesn't matter.
Imagine if the Chiefs had one defensive back as good as Byron Jones.
Imagine if Romo had one defensive back as good as Byron Jones in his entire career.
That would have been fun. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
The Rams.
The Rams.
Who would ever bet against the Rams? Just because they lost like against the Bears on an island game?
Yeah.
The Bears are good, but the Rams are better.
Yeah.
The Rams personnel is crazy. Their coach is amazing. The only argument against them, I guess, would be in big games their defense has gotten exposed a couple times. Which
is crazy because they have great defensive players. They have Donald and Sue. And they have like Talib and Peters isn't a great player, but
putting pressure internally, regardless of what anyone would tell you about how much of a tactical advantage it is, it's actually you would much rather have the pressure from the edge.
Sure.
Like it just. Well, think about the way a football play works.
Yeah, who they got a Fowler?
I don't even know who their big edge guys are.
No, I think they traded for Fowler from Jacksonville.
They did, but he's like a rotational guy.
Yeah. But, they have just a linebacker. They have, like, Mark Barron and Littleton, who are, like, kind of meh players. They have John Johnson at safety, who's pretty good. But they, like, have the best coach and the best defensive player, and then they have a great offense. Like, you might be right.
And I guess it's just a matter of, like, Goff is bad.
That's the thing. Like, if Goff and Mahomes ended up facing off again, I would probably give the edge to Mahomes because he's so much better than Goff. That's one.
I would say if that was if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I think they would be favored.
You'd be so happy. Your first year rooting for him, you'd be like, I've been waiting so long.
That's the thing is if they win the Super Bowl, I'll be happy, but it wouldn't be anything like if Dallas won,
Yeah. What if Dallas wins now?
I don't know.
How will you feel?
I'm not worried about that eventuality. Can you
I want to get you on record.
Jason Garrett versus Sean McVay in LA?
Oh God.
That's just GG's.
Is that what's the spread there? Like 12.5?
No. It would only be like, it would be like 6.
Oh my God.
6.5.
I'd put all the Bitcoin on it.
I believe it is true that playoff game spreads are generally a little bit more narrow.
Yeah.
I'm
sure.
Just because the teams in general are not horrible.
I'm sure. We don't have any showdown to talk about.
No.
There's no showdown. This is kind of the end of an era. I can't believe the season's pretty much over. Like, we'll mash the playoff slates, but like,
We'll be playing a lot of showdown.
you've really gotten into showdown. You got me more into showdown as the season went on.
Showdown is fun.
I was a little resistant. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, you're an old grumpy man.
It's true. I'm resistant to change.
You were just like, I don't know what all these people are doing with this one game. What's a captain? I don't even get it. What am I even supposed to do with this?
I did have to research when somebody said "in the captain" on Twitter. I was like, wait, what does that mean? I was like, week 2.
So I'm looking at the Rams PFR page right now. This does not bode particularly well for them. Quarterback hits. Aaron Donald has 38. I mean, that is a lot. Sue has 18. That's quite a bit. Their next guy has 6. Quarterback. That's really not good.
No, that's a real concentrated. If I were another team, I'd just stick like a tight end right there.
No, you'd legit bring back a fullback to play against the Rams.
Yeah, bring back a fullback and just always have him block.
Who has like bad? I bet if you researched it, teams with bad centers just get wrecked by the Rams.
I have no doubts, friend. I have zero doubts at all.
A lot of teams get wrecked by the Rams, though. No shame in it.
Yeah.
Their defense did just like give up 32 to Nick Mullins today.
I mean, dude, they've been hemorrhaging points all year. Like they don't actually play that well together.
All right, so who do you think wins the Super Bowl?
I actually think I'm on board with you. I've always liked the Rams. In the preseason I bet Rams and Chargers.
Chargers will not win the Super Bowl.
No, they will not. Of course they won't.
Just like Phillip Rivers will never beat Tom Brady in the playoffs.
That's kind of sad to me because I think that if Phil Rivers won a Super Bowl, he'd be completely differently regarded. People think he's like a whiny little bitch because he like comes off as one. But if he actually won, people would be like, bro, that guy's fiery. He's fiery. He's a fiery winner.
I don't care for Phil Rivers. I don't care for any of the Chargers.
I mean, I don't like anybody who has, no offense to anyone who's listening, but if you have more than 3 children, I don't understand your choices. And Phil Rivers.
Keenan Allen has been such a pain in my side his entire life that I just don't want good things for the Chargers. Melvin Gordon, too, for that matter.
I rarely play Chargers. Like, I never play Melvin Gordon, even though he smashes.
He just gets like 35 every game, and Nate's like, why aren't you guys playing him? And we're like, dude, because he's Melvin, dude. He's Melvin.
And he only gets like 17 touches a game. I don't even know how it happens.
He just scores like every time he's healthy, he scores like 3 touchdowns a game.
Regression, bro. Regression. It's coming.
And the Chargers gave me the most miserable in-game viewing experience of any California team since Game 7 of the 2015 World Series when they did the 2-point conversion on Thursday night 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that was in your eye. You were at that game, right?
I was there.
Oh yeah,
horrible. I have not seen a crowd that dead and pissed off since the World Series.
Oh yeah, that makes me feel good that you felt so bad at that moment. It's just
bad.
A real visceral experience. Makes you feel alive, even.
I really will never forget that Madison Bumgarner game, though.
I mean,
it was like being suffocated for 3 hours.
At any point, did you think you would get a hit off him ever, or did you just know it wasn't going to happen?
Gordon hit a triple off of him.
Really?
Gordon?
Oh, in the last inning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, before that, no, there was no hope.
Yeah.
But they'd been so good that postseason, I just assumed they would win. We'll end on some baseball talk.
Oh yeah.
So
talk dirty. Let's go.
The 2015 postseason, I went to the wild card playoff game, the one game against the A's that went into 13 innings. Went to that game, went to the closing game of the Angels series, and then went to the closing game of the Orioles series, which was Game 4. because they swept both of those teams. So I'm just like, this team, they'll never lose. They're the team of destiny, you know? And then all of a sudden they start losing, and then I'm like, okay, well, we got to go. We got to go to Game 7 of the World Series, and we get there, and I'm just like, oh, they're just going to win. They're just going to win like 5-0, no problem. And they just sucked. They were horrible.
Is that the last baseball game you've watched?
No. I mean, I watched a lot. When the Royals are good, I'll watch.
Yeah.
The Royals are like
you seem pretty bitter at baseball the last couple of years. I'm starting to figure it out.
It was a really horrible experience to like, even though they won the next year and it was that was awesome. It still was like kind of tainted by how bad that Game 7 was for me.
I'm really excited for you to jump ship on the Royals like you jump ship on the Cowboys and become like Atlanta Braves fan.
There's no point because no one in baseball is as exciting as Patrick Mahomes is.
Ronald Acuna, bitch.
No, that's not even the one you like. Juan Soto is the guy you like.
That's my boy, yeah.
Yeah.
But Vlad Guerrero Jr., there's some young talent coming up. You might latch on.
No, there's just no way to make football as exciting, or no way to make baseball as exciting as football for me.
It
just takes too long.
You'll experience this as you get older and wiser, Davis. You'll appreciate the nuance.
No, my brain will be even more wrecked by technology the older I get, and I will be able to like tolerate less and less time in between things flashing in front of me. You know what's killing baseball? Smartphone addiction, because you can't like sit through a commercial break.
You're not wrong.
I know. All right, we're gonna leave you there, everyone. I hope that the 2018 season was great for you, and we hope to, we just hope to keep winning in the playoffs, and we hope that in a theoretical universe where Nate played today, we hope that he would have played Brandon Powell.